Billionaire collapsed when his wife yelled, "I regret marrying you." Then his maid dialed 911. What he did next shocked everyone. "I regret marrying you." The words tore through the mansion like thunder. For a moment, everything froze. The ticking clock, the humming refrigerator, even the rain outside that had been pounding for hours. Nathan Cole, one of New York's youngest billionaires, stood in the middle of his marble kitchen, clutching his chest. His face went pale, his breathing short and heavy. Across from him stood his wife, Emily, tears burning down her face, her voice shaking from anger and heartbreak. "I gave you everything," she screamed. "But you never loved me. Not really." Nathan tried to speak, but no words came out. His knees buckled. The sound of his body hitting the floor echoed louder than her words. "Mr. Cole!" cried Maria, the maid rushing from the hallway. She dropped the basket she was carrying, towels spilling across the floor. Nathan's eyes rolled back as his body twitched slightly, one hand gripping his chest. Emily froze in horror. "Nathan? Nathan, get up!" But he didn't move. Maria's hands trembled as she grabbed the phone from the counter. "I'm calling 911, she yelled. Her voice cracked with panic. "Please hurry," she cried into the phone. "He collapsed. He's not breathing." Emily sank to her knees beside him, shaking his shoulders. "Nathan, please don't do this to me." The house was filled with the sound of rain, the faint hum of sirens in the distance, and Emily's choking sobs. But then, something strange happened. Nathan's eyes fluttered open for just a second. His lips moved faintly, whispering something that made Maria's hand freeze midair. No one could believe what he said, and what happened next would turn their lives upside down. 2 hours before the collapse, Nathan Cole was sitting in his office, the one with glass walls overlooking the gray New York skyline. On paper, he had it all: a billion-dollar construction empire, luxury cars, private jets, and a mansion big enough to get lost in. But inside, he was empty. The last few months had been chaos. Emily barely spoke to him unless it was to argue. She said he'd changed, that the man she married 5 years ago wasn't the same person anymore. Maybe she was right. Nathan stared at the photo on his desk, their wedding day. Her smile back then was real, soft, full of love. But somewhere between his endless business trips and late-night calls, that smile had faded. Maria, the maid, knocked softly and entered with a tray of coffee. "Sir, your wife hasn't eaten anything today," she said gently. Nathan sighed. "She'll eat when she wants to, Maria." Maria hesitated, then added, "She was crying this morning. I think she's really hurting." He didn't respond. Instead, he just rubbed his temples. "You can go," he muttered. Maria frowned but left quietly. That night, Emily appeared in the doorway of his office. Her makeup was smudged, her eyes red. "Do you even care anymore, Nathan?" He looked up slowly. "Emily, I'm tired. Can we not do this tonight?" She crossed her arms, her voice trembling with anger. "That's what you always say. You're always tired, always busy, always gone." Nathan stood, frustrated. "I'm doing all this for us. You think money just—" "I don't want your money," she shouted. "I just wanted you." "But I lost you to your empire, Nathan. You're not the man I fell in love with." Her voice cracked, and before she could stop herself, she yelled, "I regret marrying you." Nathan froze. The words hit him like a bullet. His hand instinctively went to his chest, but before she could take it back, he stumbled forward. His eyes went wide. Then he collapsed. Emily screamed as Maria came running from the kitchen. The room spun into chaos. "Call 911, Emily shouted, her voice breaking. "Now!" Maria's hands shook as she dialed, but as she turned back, Nathan wasn't moving. His eyes fluttered open for just a second, and what he whispered before the paramedics arrived made both women gasp in disbelief. Maria knelt beside him, trying to hear the faint words coming from Nathan's trembling lips. His voice was so weak it sounded like a broken whisper. Emily leaned closer, her face pale and streaked with tears. "Nathan, what are you saying?" He gasped for air, every breath sharp and painful. Then in a voice barely audible, he whispered, "Check. The study. The safe." His eyes rolled back again, and his body went still. Emily's heart stopped. "Nathan! No! Stay with me!" she screamed, shaking him. Maria pressed 2 fingers to his neck. "He's still got a pulse," she said quickly, tears streaming down her cheeks. "But it's faint." The wail of sirens grew louder outside. The paramedics burst in moments later, rushing Nathan onto a stretcher, attaching tubes, shouting instructions to one another. Emily tried to follow, but one of them held her back gently. "Ma'am, we need space." "Please." As the ambulance sped away, Emily stood in the doorway, soaked from the rain, her whole body trembling. Nathan's last words kept echoing in her mind. "Check the study." The safe Maria hesitated behind her. "Ma'am, do you think he meant—" "I don't know," Emily said, staring into the darkness of the hallway. "But I have to find out." The house was eerily silent when they went back in. The air felt heavy, like the walls were holding a secret of their own. Emily walked into Nathan's study. It was clean, almost too perfect. The smell of expensive wood polish mixed with the faint scent of his cologne. Maria followed quietly, clutching her cross. "Are you sure this is a good idea, Mrs. Cole?" Emily didn't answer. She crouched down near the oak bookshelf and pressed her palm against the wall behind it. Then with a quiet click, a small panel opened, revealing a digital safe. She entered Nathan's birthday. No luck. Their anniversary, still wrong. Then she tried something else, the day Nathan's father died. The safe clicked open. Inside was a small black envelope, sealed tightly. On the front, in Nathan's handwriting, were 4 chilling words. "In case I don't wake." Maria gasped softly. "Oh my God!" Emily's hands trembled as she pulled out the envelope. Inside was a single folded letter. She opened it, and her knees went weak as her eyes scanned the first line. Whatever was written there made her whisper, "This can't be real." But it was, and what Nathan had hidden was a truth that could destroy everything she thought she knew about her husband. Emily's hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. The ink was slightly smudged, as if Nathan had written it through tears. Maria stood behind her, silent, her breath shaky. The first line hit Emily like a storm. "If you're reading this, it means my heart finally gave up. And so did my secret." Her lips quivered as she kept reading. "I know you've stopped trusting me, Emily. And maybe you're right too. There's something I've hidden from you for years. Something I swore I'd never tell anyone. But it's not another woman. It's much worse." Emily's knees felt weak. "Oh God," she whispered. Maria moved closer. "Ma'am, maybe you shouldn't—" But Emily couldn't stop. Her eyes darted down the page. "5 years ago, when my company nearly went bankrupt, I did something terrible. I took money from an investor. Money that didn't belong to me. It saved the company, but ruined another man's life. He lost everything, and he never forgave me." Emily blinked rapidly, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. "His name was Daniel Price. He said he'd make me pay. I thought it was over when he left the country. But last month, he came back. He sent me a message. 'I'm going to take from you what you love most.'" Maria gasped, covering her mouth. Emily dropped the letter on the desk, her voice breaking. "What he loves most? That's me." The realization hit her like ice. Nathan hadn't just been stressed from work. He'd been terrified. The arguments, the mood swings, the sleepless nights, they all made sense now. She grabbed the letter again, flipping to the last paragraph. "If anything happens to me, look behind the picture of our wedding day. You'll find a flash drive. It has everything. The proof, the names, the deal. Don't trust anyone, not even the police." Suddenly, a faint creak echoed from the hallway. Emily froze. Maria looked toward the door. "Did you hear that?" Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. "Someone's in the house." The lights flickered. The rain outside grew louder. Then, a shadow moved past the doorway. Maria gasped and stepped back, clutching Emily's arm. And before either of them could react, a deep male voice came from the dark hallway. "You shouldn't have opened that safe." Emily froze. Her heart thumped so hard it hurt. The voice came again, closer this time. "I said, you shouldn't have opened that safe." Maria's trembling hand reached for the nearest thing she could find, a lamp. She held it like a weapon, her knuckles white. Out of the shadows stepped a man in a soaked black coat. His face was half hidden by the dim light, but his eyes, sharp and cold, locked onto Emily. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice cracking. He smirked faintly. "Daniel Price." Emily gasped. "You're the man from the letter." Daniel stepped forward slowly. "Your husband took everything from me. My business, my reputation, my family. He ruined me. And you think he could just live happily ever after in this palace?" "He's in the hospital," Emily cried. "He almost died." Daniel's voice hardened. "He deserved worse." Maria whispered a prayer under her breath. "Please, sir, don't do this." But Daniel ignored her. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small flash drive, the same one Nathan mentioned. He twirled it between his fingers. "You're not the only one who found something tonight," he said darkly. "This drive proves everything. And if it goes public, Nathan's entire empire will burn." Emily's mind raced. How did he get it? Suddenly, headlights flashed through the window. A car speeding up the driveway. Tires screeched. Doors slammed. Then a voice shouted from outside. "Daniel! Don't move!" Emily's heart skipped. She recognized that voice. It was Nathan's. He was standing in the rain, soaked and weak, one hand still on his chest but very much alive. The paramedics' van sat behind him, its lights flashing. "Put it down, Daniel," Nathan said firmly, stepping inside the doorway. Daniel's eyes went wide. You're supposed to be..." "Dead," Nathan cut in, breathing heavily. "Not yet." The tension crackled in the air. Emily ran to him, but he raised a hand, keeping his eyes locked on Daniel. "You want revenge? Fine, but you don't get to hurt my wife." Daniel's jaw clenched. "You stole my life." Nathan's voice dropped low. "Then take my company. Take my money, but you'll never touch her." Before anyone could react, Nathan reached into his pocket and pulled out another flash drive, identical to Daniel's. "You think you have the truth?" Nathan said. "That's a fake. The real one's here." Daniel blinked, confused. Nathan tossed it onto the floor between them. "Take it. Walk away. If you release it, I'll confess publicly. But if you lay a hand on her again, I'll make sure you never see the sun." For a long moment, no one moved. The only sound was the thunder outside. Then Daniel bent down, picked up the drive slowly, and stepped back toward the door. But just as he reached it, he turned and said, "This isn't over, Cole." He vanished into the rain. Emily ran to Nathan, hugging him tightly, sobbing into his chest. "I thought I lost you." Nathan held her close, whispering, "You almost did." "And I almost lost myself." Maria stood near the doorway, tears streaming down her face, whispering, "Thank God." But as Nathan looked over Emily's shoulder, his eyes drifted to the letter still lying on the desk. And the words, "Don't trust anyone," circled in red. His expression changed, because as the thunder rolled outside, Nathan realized something terrifying. Daniel wasn't the only one who knew the truth. The storm had finally passed. Morning sunlight slipped through the broken blinds of the Cole mansion, revealing the chaos from the night before. Shattered glass, muddy footprints, and a half-burned candle still flickering on Nathan's desk. Emily sat curled up on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes red from crying. Nathan stood at the window, staring out at the driveway where the police cars had been hours ago. Maria brought him a cup of coffee. "Sir, the officers said they'll look for Mr. Price," she said softly. "They think he's gone for good." Nathan nodded, but he didn't look convinced. "He's not done. Men like him never walk away quietly." Emily rose from the couch and walked toward him. "Then what do we do now?" He turned to her, his voice quiet but heavy. "Now, we wait. And we protect what's left." Emily took his hand. For the first time in months, he squeezed it back, a silent promise. But just as she leaned against him, something on the floor caught Maria's eye. Near the desk, half under the rug, was another black envelope. Maria bent down and picked it up. "Sir, there's something else." Nathan frowned and took it from her. It was addressed in the same handwriting as before, but this one was sealed with red wax. something he hadn't used in years. Emily swallowed. What is that? Nathan hesitated, then opened it slowly. Inside was a single photograph, old, slightly torn, showing Daniel Price standing beside Nathan in front of an office building. Both were smiling, arms around each other. On the back of the photo were 6 words written in black ink. Brothers by blood. Enemies by choice. Emily's breath caught. Nathan, what does that mean? Nathan's hand trembled as the truth sank in. It means, he whispered, voice breaking, Daniel isn't just my enemy. He's my brother, Maria gasped. Oh, my Lord. Nathan stared at the photo again, his reflection glinting off the glass frame. The past hadn't just come back for revenge. It had come home. And as thunder rumbled faintly in the distance once more, Nathan whispered to himself, this isn't the end.